What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin is getting a bit of a rip to the upside here, and we are long for it in the premium Discord. So I wanted to jump in and talk about why we are seeing this push to the upside as we're approaching a very key level of resistance. Are we going to be able to flip this level and potentially see Bitcoin push up to $95,000 to $97,000? Or are we going to get the big rejection only to come down and break the lows at $80,500? I'm going to break it down all in today's video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart. And as you can see, Bitcoin getting a nice little 6% rip to the upside here, reapproaching one of our biggest key levels on the chart, which is of course the value area low of our macro range. When we zoom out just a little bit, you guys can see we have been looking at this volume profile. It was part of the reason we were looking to take shorts up here at about $91,000 to $92,000. We then got a beautiful drop to the downside from that level, waiting patiently for price to get a drop down here to revisit our golden pocket retracement, where we also had some nice confluence. We had a daily MPOC down here, and we also had the point of control of our $80,000 range. So we had 3 levels of confluence there, and we were patiently waiting for this level to get hit in the premium Discord, waiting for some very specific bullish confirmations to look to take that long position. And if you guys look at this screenshot, you will know we actually did push up to $91,000 first, but that did actually drag our golden pocket closer in confluence with these naked points of controls. So we had to wait even longer than this line shows. We actually had to wait for the push up. We took that short position in anticipation of coming back down and retesting this golden pocket. We were looking for those bullish confirmations into our golden pocket daily MPOC and the point of control of that range. And as you can see here, we did get that push down, and we indeed did get those bullish divergences that we were looking for. We had the 15-minute bull divs as well as some bullish divergences on other time frames, and that gave us the confidence to go ahead and fire on that long position. And to be quite honest with you guys, I was actually a little bit suspicious of this long position, as we did have some of our 3-hour money flow coming to the downside. It is attempting to come back up here, and one of the reasons we were looking for a nice bounce off this level was because as we were looking at this 4-hour money flow continuing to stay in the green, it does give us an opportunity to give us a low, a high, a higher low, and potentially a higher high, targeting our next key level of resistance, which is sitting between about $95,000 and $97,000. I was a little suspicious that we would be able to see a higher high here. Now, of course, that has not come in yet, but we did have some other mixed signals here on Market Cipher B. We had the 3-hour money flow coming out. We had the 2-hour money flow coming out, but you don't have to be 100% positive, guys. And a matter of fact, you will never be 100% positive if a trade is going to give you what you want. But very simply, guys, we had that key level of confluence down here. And once you push into that level and you see those confirmations, for me personally, if I hit the level, I see the confirmations, I go ahead and take that trade. And I am holding that long position here up about $4,500. You can see I have about 4K unrealized. Also locked in a little bit of profit as we are tapping into our next key level of resistance. So absolutely beautiful move over the last 24 hours, giving us some nice payouts here. And not only was this a local level of support, guys, but this is of course also a very, very important high time frame level of support, as we've looked at many a times on the live stream. You guys all know that this is our macro 786 Fibonacci retracement. And when we look at price here, guys, this is a super important level of support. Not only did we have that 786 Fibonacci retracement, but we also had a ton of naked points of controls in here, sitting between about $85,000 and $82,000. So we knew this was going to be a very big level of support. And if we are going to see a bigger macro retracement on Bitcoin, potentially targeting the value area high at 108K. Now, I don't want to get too carried away. There's a possibility for this to turn into a bigger swing trade. But of course, with the high time frame money flow coming out, we have to be careful. But just to point this out, guys, this, of course, is a major, major level of support. If we want to see a big retracement come in here on Bitcoin, we had to stay above that 786. And of course, as you can see here, we have broken above it, flipped it to support. So we do have an opportunity, guys, to push back up in here into our bigger volume profile. And in this zone, guys, we do have a fresh naked point of control, which obviously we have already come up and tapped. You can see that wick tap this daily MPOC right here. So don't get it twisted. We are coming up to resistance, but this is a very, very important level, guys, because if we are able to get back above this value area low, sitting at about $92,000, it would very likely open the door to get that bigger push up into $95,000 to $97,000. And that would be very nice if we could get a little bit more relief here. And then, of course, guys, once we break into this volume profile, if we're able to break above this point of control of the range, it would open up another bigger target up here, closer to about $103,000, which, of course, is somewhat confluent here with our 50-week moving average. And you can see this confluence right here, really between about $102,000 and $103,400. You know, this would be absolutely beautiful, as we have seen in these bearish environments this late in the cycle. We have, in at least 2021, seen the loss of that level and a bigger retracement to come up and test that 50-week moving average. That is kind of the hope here, guys. And of course, we need to hold that 786 to see that come in. So there is a little bit of hope here to see that bigger retracement come in. Now, I'm not going to talk about the possibilities of coming up to all-time highs just because it's simply too soon to call for it. But of course, if we're able to get above these levels, flip that POC, come up to the value area high, and flip that 50-week moving average into support, this would be something we have never seen at this point in the cycle after losing that 50-week moving average. And this is going to be the big zone to look at for me to start feeling a little bit more confident that we are actually seeing something different, not hoping for some kind of narrative, not trying to speculate on some low probability scenario playing out, but we can actually look at the charts and say there is some hard information and evidence that we're seeing something different happen. So I know this feels exciting, and it potentially could end up being exciting for a much bigger push up, but I do just kind of want to let everybody know that we have never been able to break above that 50-week moving average, so I'm not going to get too excited until we're able to break above that level. But at the end of the day, guys, if we're able to get this bigger retracement of about 30% into this key level, that would be some nice relief here on Bitcoin after the massive drop down from 126K. And when we take a look at Market Cipher B, you guys can see here that we do actually have, of course, our 4-hour money flow continuing into the green. And when we looked at the charts last night, one of those signals that we were looking at for this long position to continue paying us out, which of course was the case, we were looking at that 30-minute money flow crossover into the green. And the reason I was looking at this as the signal to see this bigger continuation up was because if we come on over to the 8-hour, you can see we were printing a green dot here on the 8-hour at the same time. That gives us the Market Cipher B 1/16 bullish setup. And once you see that 30-minute money flow crossover at the same time as that 8-hour red dot, you are going to be looking for the continuation of that trend to the upside. And that now has played out absolutely perfectly, paying us out very, very handsomely here on that long position. So I got my profits locked in here. My stop loss is at break even, as you can see here. Stop loss sitting there right at the entry. Beautiful entry, and now a guaranteed risk-free trade. If we do decide to just start nuking to the downside here, I will get stopped out in profit on that position. And technically, I am still holding my short position here, guys. Really close to getting stopped out in profit on that. But there you go, guys. We were schlong last night, short and long at the same time, just showing that you don't necessarily need Bitcoin to be screaming into new all-time highs to make some really good money here over the past couple of days. Not first on the short, now on the long position. So absolutely beautiful, guys. But this is the big zone. We are hitting some resistance here on that daily MPOC at 91.3. If we're able to get above this zone, not just the daily MPOC, but really that value area low sitting at $92,000, that is what is going to give us that better opportunity to see that bigger $95,000 to $97,000 level come in. Just looking at this as a simple volume profile, of course, once you're able to reclaim that value area low, same thing we were looking up here when we looked to take that short. If you're able to flip this level, guys, we are very likely to get accepted into this volume profile, at least giving the opportunity to push into that $95,000 to $97,000 level. And then, of course, we can reassess the situation. I will be interested in scalp shorts at this zone, but if we can eventually flip that, guys, we could be looking to get that bigger retracement. It was getting a bit sketchy down there. And I do want to point out, guys, we are not above that level yet, so I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But as we approach this level, pay attention here, guys, because that is the line in the sand, or the doorway to higher prices, as I like to say. So hopefully Bitcoin can get above there and get that bigger push into our next key level of resistance. And when we take a look at some of these higher time frames, guys, just like we looked at the 8-hour green dot and the 30-minute money flow crossover to indicate this continuation to the upside locally, we now have a 12-hour green dot printing and a 16-hour green dot printing, which does line up with our 1-hour money flow crossover into the green. You can see we did get that continuation up, and that 45-minute money flow has also now crossed over into the green. So what this means is if we are able to see this money flow continue up, we can look for higher lows and higher highs to eventually attempt to flip that value area low. So we'll see what happens here. We are a little bit overbought here. We have some low time frame red dots, but we'll see if this money flow can continue into the green. But beautifully firmly positioned here in that long position. We waited patiently for the short zone, staying out of early shorts, finally catching that big drop down, waiting patiently for the long position, getting those confirmations, and riding that move to the upside. So hopefully we could see the charts continue to turn around here, get above that $92,000 value area low, and get the bigger push to the upside. That would be absolutely beautiful here, guys. But of course, we do have some of these high time frame red dots looking to print. So, we'll see. Nice little bullish candle here on the 2-day so far. Hopefully, Bitcoin can hold this bullish momentum and give us that bigger pop up. And if we do get a pullback here, guys, let's assume that this 45-minute red dot or even this 1-hour incoming red dot does give us a pullback here, guys. One of the key levels I will be looking at is going to be the value area high of our lower range here. This does sit between about $88,680 and $87,921. You have the golden pocket 786 and the value area high. So if we do end up getting a local correction here to potentially have the money flow continue into the green, we could look for that red dot to give us a pullback into that key zone. And then this could be an opportunity to look for another higher low before coming back up and flipping that value area low. If we can't get above this level, guys, it's not going to be looking too good. But as we're pushing up here with some of the money flow on the medium time frames coming into the green, with some of these lower time frame money flows coming into the green, we have an opportunity to break out. We have an opportunity to try to get above here. Hopefully we can do it, but watch this key zone here on any pullbacks. And of course, once we get accepted back into this range, we can be very careful of getting accepted back into the $80,000 range and potentially filling it in. But this does look pretty nice here, guys. And it just goes to show, like I said last night, guys, I was a little bit suspicious here, but when it comes to trading, guys, you're never going to have a 100% certainty on a trade. And that's why I like to find those confluent levels of support or resistance. And then if I get the confirmations, I take the trade. It's very binary. You have the key levels, you see the entry trigger, you take the trades, and more often than not, you do see it play out in your favor. And hey, if we do see this turn into a bigger swing trade, we're now long for it, and we can enjoy that bigger retracement to the upside. So still cautious here on the higher time frames, guys, but as the price action develops, if something flips around here, we've been talking a lot about how these higher time frames are bearish, and to be quite honest, they still do look bearish, right? Nothing has really changed here. We do still have the 3-day money flow in the red. We still have the 2-day money flow in the red with a potential red dot incoming. So, as of right now, my bias here is for another lower high to come in eventually, but we could still see a massive, massive relief rally off of this key zone of support, which is a super high time frame key level. And as we talked about yesterday, Bitcoin is attempting to hold a major, major key level of support. The reason this is so important, guys, is because it is just the macro 786 Fibonacci retracement. And I know a lot of people are going to be looking for the low, the high, the higher low, and then another higher high. I'm not saying that's impossible. Of course, the higher time frame money flow looks like it wants to put in a lower high and a lower low. It does still look like the higher probability, but as price pushes up here, guys, things can change. And as soon as we see a reason to start calling for all-time highs, well, we'll be sitting in that long position. And once we start getting above that 50-week moving average, we could potentially say, hey, something different is happening here. And that might make us feel a little bit better about a bigger push to the upside. But of course, we are going to have resistance along the way. So we'll see. Hopefully this turns into a big relief rally. And hey, even if it's a small chance, maybe it will wind up being a new all-time high. But I'm going to keep my sentiment here. High time frames still look bearish, but come on, give us some relief, Bitcoin. This would be super, super nice. After this gigantic drop to the downside, it would be really nice to get some of those retracements. So my sentiment remains the same here, guys, but very nice to see this bounce to the upside. So I just wanted to update you guys with some of those local levels and let you know we're up here testing the doorway to higher prices, which sits here at about $92,000. And I'm going to continue to hold this long position. And hopefully this is the one, guys. Hopefully this is the one that brings us up back into that volume profile. But I'll keep you guys updated here on the market updates and the daily live streams. But Bitcoin, we believe in you. Please give us that Santa rally that everybody wants. And guys, don't forget, we do have our Cyber Week sale here. If you're interested in checking out the premium Discord, we have some really, really good deals here on the annual, biannual, and quarterly subscriptions. And we also have a nice deal here for the 2-year subscription. So this will run through the rest of Cyber Week. So come check that out. And we also have one more coupon code, guys. Coupon code Black Friday 10 will give you an additional 10% off the biannual, quarterly, or annual subscriptions on top of the already discounted prices. There's only one spot left, so first person to use that gets an extra 10% off. If you want to hop in the Discord and follow along with our trades, now up about 41.76, close to 5K on this position from yesterday. So come on, Biddy, you can do it. Keep pumping, keep pumping. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's video. Consider smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. That's all the time I got for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.